Thank you, James. Tonight's game presented in TSN HD. TSN, Canada's high-definition leader. The Michel Therrien era begins tonight in Pittsburgh. And the starting goaltenders are brought to you by Tim Hortons Limited Edition Mug and Canister. And there is Marty Biron. The franchise record 11 straight starts with victories. Marty Brodeur turned the trick, winning 12 7 years ago. And there's Marc-Andre Fleury. 7th start in the last 8 games for the 21-year-old, who hasn't allowed more than 3 during that span. The new assistant, Sidney Crosby, 18 years of age, centering Mario Lemieux, back for the first time in 13 days since the atrial fibrillation problem. He has medication to handle the heart problem, an icing call, and Mario says he's feeling A-OK and no longer fatigued.
Well, the first big change to the Pittsburgh Penguins, first one to make a coaching change, Michel Therrien. He was 21-1-2-1, best start in AHL history with Wilkes-Barre Scranton. It's all about work ethic, attitude, and desire to win. That's his message to his players.
Let's see how they respond. Puck centered, and it's picked off by Ziggy Palffy. He's been bothered with a groin problem. He springs Lemieux in, and he's stopped by Biron. The first test of the game. Tony Lidman hounding Lemieux. Puck centered off a skate, and Briere will try to get the puck out of there. Pittsburgh gets the possession once again as Crosby held the zone. Now Lemieux at the blue line over to Joseph Melikar. That shot off a skate. Ryan Whitney steps up. Good first shift for the big line of the Penguins. Just the 4th time this year that Lemieux and Crosby have played on a line together. The last time was 13 days ago against Calgary, and Crosby scored in that game. But neither of the big guns has been particularly hot. Lyle Odenline, the 37-year-old veteran, up past Michel Ouellette. One of many Penguins who has spent a lot of time with Therrien in Wilkes-Barre, where they amassed such an impressive record. And Biron loves it and gets a stoppage.
Second big change, CC, is to move Sidney Crosby to center. Obviously, Mario Lemieux will play the wing, Palffy on the other side. That's a pretty potent line. And right off the bat, first shift of the hockey game, they get a really good chance, Mario Lemieux, but not that same jump in his legs that we've seen from Mario Lemieux of old.
There's Mark Recchi on the ice with a couple of youngsters. Eric Christensen is the center. Michel Ouellette on the right side. The Derek Roy line is out for Buffalo with Max Afinogenov and the fine rookie Thomas Vanek. Recchi's shot blocked in front. And away goes Afinogenov, who scored against Dallas the other night to open proceedings. And that puck caromed off a skate. Fleury had to be alert. Christensen swings away. With Ouellette, Odenline jumps up on the play. Back to Christensen, the native of Leduc, Alberta. Bumped off the puck by Derek Roy. Christensen gets it back in a shot off target. And it'll carry him all the way down the ice, and Vanek's on it. Ryan Whitney cuts him off. Afinogenov follows. And that little piece of stick handling ended up losing the puck. And the first penalty of the game is going against Pittsburgh. It's a hooking call. And it looks like Ryan Malone will get the gate.
Using his stick to check a body, it's stick on stick, not stick on body. And he pulls down Roy, and as a result, sends the Buffalo Sabres to the power play. Here's a look at it. In transition. And the Pittsburgh Penguins would have been off to the races. Right there, little hook on the glove. Not allowed in today's National Hockey League. Power play for Buffalo, 3 for 14 in the past 4 games.
Third best in the NHL, the Buffalo Sabres. And they have Briere on the ice, Brian Campbell at the point. And it's cleared down by Whitney. Matt Murley in a penalty-killing role. Got his stick on that pass, and Jochen Hesch will come back to try and settle things down. Here's Hesch, the former St. Louis Blue, Edmonton Oiler, to Briere to set things up. Pass in the slot. Drury has control, puts it in front, and a shot just off target. Drury wearing the C tonight to the other co-captain, Daniel Briere. who wore the C on Wednesday night against Dallas. Hesht bumped on the play. Connolly is at the point. He'll send it around. Briere back into the corner behind the net. Orpik trying to clear. And that puck out of play over the glass.
Connolly is playing the point on the power play for the Buffalo Sabres. He's not a shooter. He only has 4 shots in the past 5 games. Mark Recchi, really smart. He stays really low. Let's not worry about Connolly at the right point. He's never going to shoot the puck. So he stays in that tight box, make sure that there's nothing around the front of the net. Good, smart veteran move. Look at, he very rarely even goes above the dot, let alone the top of the circles. That's experience, Chris.
Pittsburgh wins the faceoff. Shane Endicott, the Saskatoon native, out with Murley to kill the final 45 seconds of this Buffalo power play. Teppo Numminen, 20 assists, dishes off. Here's a Finnegan off, dropping it back. Kodalik finds Numminen, and Roy on the other side. They like to set up Kodalik on the backside. Number 12, a pair of assists off shots the other night. There he is, and he fired it wide. Kodalik had the game winner the last time these two teams met. In fact, this is the 3rd meeting, and the previous 2 games resulted in 3-2 Buffalo wins.
Well, no one is talking about Lindy Ruff either. How about the year that he has put together? The longest tenured active coach in the NHL. And who's he coaching against? Well, the guy who's day 1 behind the bench. Not really. He coached for 3 years in Montreal. But the youngest in this new NHL. And Lindy Ruff, 6 in the past 7 years. 35-plus wins for Buffalo. Not bad. Doing it very quietly but effectively.
A guy that can be a disciplinarian and a player's coach at the same time. And that mix you don't find throughout the league. Here's a Finnegan off Fanning as he tried to pull the trigger. And Malone starts back, and Ryan Malone out of the penalty box. This time will draw a penalty. A delayed call upcoming against Buffalo as Orpik circles back, and they get the extra attacker out, and away they go. A lead pass, Lemieux looking for Crosby. In on the backhand, and Marty Biron makes the save. Puck knocked in after the whistle. No goal.
How about the speed of Sidney Crosby? He uses his body to protect the puck and then brings the puck to a scoring area and gets a real good chance. Pittsburgh Penguins had 6 players on the ice. They pulled their goalie. This is why Sidney Crosby has to play center. He can create all kinds of speed. If he gets his legs moving, he's a tough guy to stop. Not a big player, but from the waist down, he's got big, strong legs, and he is so powerful. If he gets a half a step on you, he's going to get a scoring chance.
Mario Lemieux, tongue firmly planted in cheek today, said, yeah, he's a little faster. So he'll play center and open the ice up a little bit more. On the line with Lemieux and Palffy, and the Penguins go to work on a power play that was ranked 4th in the league in early November and has skidded all the way to 24th. Gonchar, Christensen, and Marty Biron stacks the pads.
Slid would be an understatement, Chris. They're 3 for 51 in the past bunch of games. That works out to less than 6%. However, good puck movement. Ziggy Palffy back in the lineup. Mario Lemieux back in the lineup. That stat is going to change if they get that type of puck possession and those type of chances.
Lemieux and Recchi flank Christensen with Gonchar and Whitney at the points. When's Sergei Gonchar going to start scoring? Here's Whitney, a shot. Rebound loose, and Biron came across and robs Lemieux.
Now, when's Sergei Gonchar going to start playing? Forget about scoring. That being said, again, good puck movement, east to west, rebound, good chance. And Mario Lemieux just a half a step behind from getting from the corner to the front of the net. If he had been a step ahead, he would have got better wood on that shot.
Face-off controlled by Pittsburgh. Ouellet lost his stick and the puck, and Buffalo gets it out. Mike Greer now with Chris Drury. Penalty killing for the Sabres. 50 seconds into that penalty to Buffalo as Crosby dishes. Palffy looks for Whitney. Shot blocked nicely by Greer, and the Sabres as good as any team in the NHL in the block shot category. Ryan Whitney over the line. Here's Crosby. 3 points in his last 8 games. Palffy circles. Puck back to the point. Big Whitney fires, and that shot rolled wide of the net. Connolly a chance to clear, and he does. 5 shots for the Penguins. Sabres have yet to test Marc-Andre Fleury in this opening period. Pittsburgh's only scored first 8 times in 31 games all season. Looking for the icebreaker here, but they're offside with 16 seconds left in the power play.
Pittsburgh Penguins trying to change things in their power play. Watch what Sidney Crosby does. Takes a puck from down low, and he brings it to bad ice, and then says, "Come with me." 2 defenders make their way up way too far from the net. All he's got to do is throw it back to the net, and they're going to outman white sweaters in front of the net. It just shows the attention that they spend on this young kid, that they know this guy, he can do damage.
Thomas Sorovic battling behind the net. 10 different Penguins have served time under Therrien this year in Wilkes-Barre. Sorovic one of them. Vanek out of the box, a delayed call, and a glove stop by Biron, and we've got another penalty coming up against Buffalo.
And Spreads Tuesday on TSN. Hockey lives here.
Buffalo has to kill a penalty. Tony Ludman, you see him in the back of your screen. He's got his arms around Ryan Malone. Get the 3 Mississippi, and you better let him go. He got the 5 Mississippi. Now he's got to go to the box.
Lemieux, Crosby, Palffy start on the second power play that generated 3 shots on their first try of the game. Yes, they are calling him Ludman, former Calgary defenseman we know as Lidman.
I just changed his name for him. What do you think? Why does he change his name? He's nearly 34.
Here's Crosby, 3 points back of Ovechkin, starting the night in the rookie scoring derby. And that pass forces Whitney to go back and recharge the power play. Just over 7.5 minutes into the first period, scoreless. As Palffy dishes, and there's Crosby back in. Fired around, ring the boards, looking for Gonchar. And Palffy backs him up. Whitney looks across. Gonchar, and his stick lifted as he tried to fire the shot. Gonchar without a goal the last 16's got it now in front. Palffy between the legs, and the backhand stop by Marty Biron, who is just as hot as he finished Wednesday night.
One of the least most talked about things with the new rules is the expanded zone. It opens up lanes. You've got 4 more feet. You would never have seen that seam open up if you're talking the smaller 03-04 zone. It opens up, and Palffy, you'd only recognize he had more time. Part of that's due to do with rust. Took his time. He had Biron down and out.
Dick Tarnstrom out on the left point now, 32. Puck got by him. And Briere tries to spring Roy on the other side. And there's the first shot for the Sabres in this game, and it comes just past the 8-minute mark. And it was handled routinely by the young Pittsburgh goaltender. Tarnstrom had 12 power play goals 2 seasons ago. He's just coming back off knee surgery, and the puck out of play with 23 seconds remaining in Lidman or Ludman's penalty.
The first period is brought to you by General Motors and all of its divisions.
You see this quite often, a new coach in town, and obviously they want to impress the coach. 10 have played with Therrien before, that he knows about them. It's the other 10 or 13 that haven't, that say, new coach, new approach, I want more ice, I want more responsibility, and there's just a little bit more buzz behind that Pittsburgh bench tonight.
There's Tarnstrom firing off target. There were plenty of buzzwords too, like intensity and commitment, and a shot, and that whistled wide. Puck bouncing around in front, and in a rugby scrum, there's a hand pass, and the puck is going to be brought outside the line for a face-off.
Well, Eddie Olczyk, I don't think there's a coach that worked harder at his job than Eddie O. 16 years in the NHL, and when he got the job, you know, Pittsburgh had gotten rid of all their coaches at all levels, minor league level and the NHL level. He put his name in the hat thinking he'd get the minor league job, he got the NHL job. And that all being said, Craig Patrick took a real gamble The same gamble Craig Patrick took in '79 when he was told to fire Fred Shero for the New York Rangers 17 games into his job. And they said, well, who's going to coach? Craig Patrick, you're coaching. A year later, he hired Herb Brooks.
Sarovi with a shot high on the glass. Game's back at full strength. Thomas Sarovi. He's checked along the boards by the steady Jay McKee, and Lidman out of the box gets it out to center ice. Brooks Orpik leads the Penguins in penalty minutes. He's paired with hard-nosed Lyle Odeline. Andre Roy back on the ice for Pittsburgh, returning from the broken orbital bone suffered in a fight back in October. Centering pass, Fleury, first two stops of the game where he was tested. And another penalty call upcoming against Pittsburgh.
You start to see one of the trends of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Everyone talks about Crosby and Lemieux and the fact that it's a freewheeling National Hockey League now and all kinds of scoring chances. I'll let a little secret into all the teams in the NHL. This Pittsburgh team cannot defend. The old NHL, they could. There's a hook there. There's another hook in front. Matt Murley ends up almost checking the left goal post in front of the net. The Pittsburgh Penguins are not tough enough. They don't skate well enough, and they don't take a good enough body position to defend. And that's why they give up so many goals. And that's why Fleury's life has been miserable, his tenure here with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Buffalo did not have a shot on their first power play of the game. Drury won the face-off. Last game against Pittsburgh, he won 17 of 20 draws. Campbell a shot bouncing in front. Gonchar can't clear. Briere fired. Blocked. Briere again. Here's Drury sizing it up, centering it. Knocked back along the boards. Picked off by Hesh. Drury and Hesh double team Gonchar. Heshed up with the puck. 55 checked by Mellicar. It comes to Drury and back to the point. Brian Campbell, 4 game-winning goals for the former Ottawa 67. He's got the puck again. Campbell faked the shot, dishes to Drury, back across. Here's Conley, double clutch, then the shot went high. Drury with it again. Here's Campbell, a shot, knocked down in front, off the stick of Crosby, and then directed wide. Brian Campbell again, the former Petrolia oil baron, calling for the puck, gets it from Drury. Couldn't handle the one-timer. Drury does, right on, and the puck off the screen. 52 seconds to go in the power play, and Lindy Rupp wired tonight.
Hey, too long in the shifts, too long in the shifts. Minute 30 on the first one. Go, Drew, go. Go, go. Stay on him, Drew.
And Lindy Rupp felt that tonight was a dangerous game, not knowing how Pittsburgh might respond to a head coaching change as his team tries to extend its win streak on the road to 8. The NHL record is 10. Last team to do that was Buffalo, back when Rupp played for the Sabres, 83-84. Numminen to Kotelik, back to Numminen. Kotelik taken away the last time these two teams met. That puck sent across the goal mouth, and now Kotelik at the left point across to Numminen. Roy turns with it. His shot drifts high. Kotelik with 9 power play goals to 14 in all. But then again off. Numminen. Penalty over. Shot off a leg. And it goes out of play. We're still scoreless. 8:19 to go. First period in Pittsburgh. Countdown on for the World Junior Championships. Canada-Finland Boxing Day. Gord Miller, Pierre Maguire. Cut down day in Vancouver. Today. And of course, Sidney Crosby, part of the gold medal team from a year ago, on the ice now with 66 and 33. Buffalo's got the puck. Tarnstrom intercepts the pass, knocked ahead, and Lemieux will play it out to center. There's Tallender. Had some trouble with it. Does push it ahead. Now Tallender up with it again. Crosby hounding him. Palffy also double teaming the Buffalo defenseman. Palffy up with the puck, gives it away. And that just offside, as Adam Mayer, a former captain of Team Canada Juniors, was a step ahead of the play.
And against Dallas, the fourth line, Adam Mayer absolutely smoked Stefan Robidas. That got the Buffalo Sabres going and got some energy into the hockey game. Gaustad, very physical also. Now this fourth line will not score much for the Buffalo Sabres. 0 points in 8 for Mayer. Gaustad 0 points in 3, but they create energy and they put teams back on their heels, particularly teams that have skilled players that maybe don't want to compete in some of the danger zones.
The problems tonight with 4 power plays in the opening dozen minutes. The fourth line hasn't really had a chance to make that impact.
Well, here's the bigger problem, Chris. They play tomorrow, both these two teams, at 5 o'clock. So if you're a coach, you better use your 4 lines tonight, or there'll be no gas in the tank tomorrow at 5.
There's big Greg Malone back of the net trying to shake the sophomore jinx. He was terrific a couple of years ago. Big number 12 when he scored 22 goals in his rookie campaign. Struggling now. Here's the shot. Biron's got that in the glove.
If you had to bet on Proline, which we don't do here in this network, however, you can guarantee one thing: the Buffalo Sabres, 6 one-goal wins in the 7-0 record, 5 of them 3-2. So what do you think we're going to get tonight?
Yep, 3-2. Pretty good bet. And again, 3-2 the score in the 2 previous meetings, 1 in overtime. Still waiting for the first goal of this game, 13 minutes in. There's the pass intercepted by Shane Endicott. He missed 25 games this year, 20 with a high ankle sprain, came back, and then here's Drury a chance. And drifted that shot high. Drury again, off the goal post. And Pittsburgh clears the zone. Chris Drury, the best chance for the Sabres so far. Puck skips back into Penguin territory, or picked to get it around the boards, and there's Andre Waugh. Took that punch from Colton Orr, which sidelined him, and now Waugh has to wear the face shield and really can't get involved in any fisticuffs because of the recovery time after suffering a broken orbital bone. So his role has to change.
That's 39 seconds he played against the Boston Bruins. He won't forget that 39 seconds. He's missed 23 games because of it.
Did score 10 goals a couple of years ago with the Lightning and was part of the Tampa Stanley Cup championship team.
He has a great shot, and I mean a great shot. It takes him a long time to get it off, granted. But when he gets it off, it's lightning.
Puck out of play with 5:44 to go in the first. Crosby, Lemieux, Palffy back out. Lemieux will take this draw. He's at 55%, although beaten there by Gaustad. Crosby at just 35% on the draw, so we'll see a lot of 66.
And look at this, a Pittsburgh Penguins team trapping.
Is Kevin Constantine in the building?
Pittsburgh Penguins team trapping with Mario Lemieux on the ice.
Yes, Matt Murley mentioned yesterday, Penguins will be trapping all over the ice now. They have their new coach. There's another shot by Crosby, his second of the period. That's number 100 on the year for the outstanding rookie who leads this team in goals, assists, points, and shots, as well as power play goals. A point a game so far for number 87, back in his own zone defensively, and spent some extra time with his new head coach to go over defensive responsibilities now that he is back at center. Up ahead for Palffy.
You have to be strong in your own zone, the Pittsburgh Penguins, because their weakness is the blue line. That's the reason they're trapping. That's one of the reasons that they didn't have Crosby play down low as a center iceman, because you have to insulate that defense.
Conley sent it across off the stick with Matt Hussey, who watches Briere closely. Now along the boards, Podolek trying to work his way out of the corner. Turnstrom denying it. They double-team Turnstrom, and Briere has the puck. He sends it back to Campbell. Across it goes Newman. In the slot, Conley for Campbell, who keeps it alive. Now Podolek unable to get a shot away as he's well covered. There's Podolek again in the corner. Turnstrom will work him over. Takes down Podolek. Back up. Puck on his stick again. Trying to get it across. Out in front. Here's Briere. Turns off the side of the net. Nifty move by Daniel Briere, who once led the Quebec Major Junior League in scoring and looking for the opening goal here. And Sorobi from his side of center rolls it down. Newman touching it, icing the call. 3:33 left on the clock, first period.
Starting to see a pattern, work that defense. All kinds of pressure on O-line. He's not quick of foot, doesn't make a good first pass. Next thing you know, you're in your own zone. You work the puck down low if you're Buffalo. You get chances, you hit the goalpost. If you're the Buffalo Sabres, take that puck and work it down low. No more can you get the hit and pin. No more can you grapple guys. That was O-line's game. He's not able to do it. Doesn't have the foot speed to compete in today's NHL.
Game 1050 for the Quill Lake, Saskatchewan native. Hussey waved out. Malone, whose father was a Penguin star, Ryan Malone, a Pittsburgh native. There's Greer back to the point. Tallender shot off a leg, and Ryan Malone's got the puck. Up ahead it goes, and it'll be dropped into the Buffalo zone by Sorobi. That triggers a Pittsburgh change. Sabres up with a puck, and a lead pass off Drury. Now Lidman spots Drury. He screens him. Chris Drury in, and Fleury made the stop. There will be a penalty as Drury was hooked as he closed in on the Pittsburgh net.
The Pittsburgh Penguins iced the puck. They couldn't make a line change. Because they couldn't make a line change, when they did get control of the puck, they dumped it in, and then all five guys went off. As a result, Buffalo Sabres took it, rammed it right down their throat. The transition game. And now it results in a penalty. Again, the new rule. Can't change if you ice the puck. You're desperate for change, you go off, you don't get offense, and now you take a penalty.
Third power play, first period for Buffalo. Derek Roy's on the ice, looks for a Finneganov. Finneganov tried to dash in front. Vanek knocked it wide. The Austrian rookie gets it to Kotelik. Cross ice he goes. Roy back to Kotelik, the one-timer, and Fleury out beyond the blue ice to make a pad stop. Finneganov has it. He'll look back to the point and misses Newman. And they'll have to regroup at center ice. Nice pass to Finneganov as Pittsburgh got caught on the change. And Vanek rolls it wide. 35 seconds into the third Buffalo power play. Finneganov up high. Nice move there on Ouellet. And tried to make an extra move and lost it to Recchi. And off goes Mark Recchi, dashing down the right side. And Finneganov got back to knock it off his stick. Ouellet's in deep. He loses control, and now Derek Roy winds up. Sabres changing their power play. Roy dashing in with Drury. Drury waiting for the latecomers. And now we'll set things up. Roy to the point. Here's Campbell's shot. And that ricocheted off a Penguin and Drury wide. Here's Drury trying to play it around. That went off Greg Kimmerly, who's in charge tonight along with Dave Jackson. Angelo D'Amico and Craig Dvorsky, the linesman. Less than a half-minute remaining in this third Buffalo power play. Across it goes Connolly's shot, and that was knocked down. Melikar with the block. It stung, but he does clear the zone. And hits to the bench, and a little anxious moment in front of the Buffalo net.
We were calling for the curly sweepers. Hurry hard.
Campbell all tied up. Murley won't allow him into the zone. Briere. Nice stick handling by Briere. Right in. Briere draws the penalty and now looks to center. Extra attacker on the ice. Here's a chance in front. That is blocked. And Hesh stays with the puck. Extra time as another power play is upcoming. Conley in deep. Hesh tried to center it. And finally, puck played by Crosby. And for the fourth time in the opening period, and in this final minute of the first, the Sabres go back on the power play.
Pittsburgh Penguins really thought this was offside. Very close call at the blue line, right there. You tell me, that's offside. And as they were screaming and yelling and saying that's offside, all of a sudden we get ourselves a breakaway, and on top of that, now a penalty. So those linesmen that you were so glowingly talking about, Chris Cuthbert, they blew one.
Not sure I was glowing.
No, I know you weren't, but that's all right. I like to embellish.
but they're right 99.9% of the time.
Yeah, if Buffalo scores here, boy, that's the wrong 0.1% to be wrong with.
Vanek drills it around. Endicott off his skate. Derek Roy will get to the point. 20 seconds left in the period, and that pass brings Pominville back outside. There's a kid that started the year in the American Hockey League, and now he mans a point on the big team's power play. Jason Pominville, Fleury down to make the stop. And another penalty about to be called against Pittsburgh. So there'll be 2 men down, 7.3 on the clock in the first, and it will be Endicott heading off.
No more is there a battle zone in front of the net. As a Finnegan off has a good chance, a good save by Fleury. And the pictures tell all the words. Right in front of the net, cross-check, right there. A little bit of a size and weight advantage, and the Finnegan off goes down as a result. As you had mentioned, Chris, 1:24 of 5-on-3 with 7.3 left in the period.
Edge to the point. Will they get a shot off before the end of the period? Kodalik fired wide. At the side, Hess swept it in front at the horn to end the opening period. Shots 9-8 Pittsburgh. We're scoreless after 1. Here's James. Welcome back to the Igloo in Pittsburgh, where Buffalo and Pittsburgh scoreless after 20 minutes. The Penguins 1 win in their last 9 games. The Sabres with just 1 regulation loss in their last 14. And although scoreless, Buffalo right now has the hammer. They've got a 2-man advantage for the next 76 seconds.
And somewhat unusual, the Pittsburgh Penguins are deciding to use 2 forwards and 1 defense. Melikar's the only defenseman. It's Murley and Recchi that will be up front. They're going to have to kill this 5-on-3. Most teams will use 2 defensemen and 1 forward. Defense just seem to have a better idea of angles. So we'll see if 2 forwards makes a difference.
Drury, Finneganov, Briere, Numminen, and Kodalik at the left point, and quickly the Penguins send it down the ice. And veteran Teppo Numminen with 20 assists on the year. Over the line, he'll drop it off. Drury have to go after it. Melikar with the opportunity to send it right back down.
5-on-3, you don't dump the puck in. You've got lots of time and space to do this. Carry it in.
There's a Finneganov. Getting by Recchi. Firing it back for Numminen. Numminen takes the return pass. Still no shot. Maybe now. Kodalik anxious to unload. A Finneganov blocked by Melikar. In the slot. Past Drury. Briere back to Kodalik. Veteran Numminen. The former Winnipeg Jet to a Finneganov. There's Kodalik. No shot. And now just 15 seconds remaining in the first Pittsburgh penalty. They play hot potato, and now Briere tries to settle it down. Here's Kodalik. There's the shot. And oh, he had a lot on that, but off target. And the puck out to center as Tarnstrom returns. Kodalik back in for Drury. And Briere. And Daniel Briere scores! Great play by Briere, and it's his 14th of the year.
The National Hockey League has changed its standard of enforcement, but it hasn't changed the fact that you are allowed to hit people. And here, Briere, Murley tries to stick check him. I know it's a long shift. I know you've been out for a while, but if you play your body there, you don't have to worry about the shot getting away. Instead of the little stick check that Melikar tries to put on. In fact, there's 2 Pittsburgh players that try to stick check Daniel Briere. Play the body there. Make it so that that player doesn't want to come to that dangerous area to be creative.
Daniel Briere breaks the ice as he ties for the team lead with 14 goals, his 6th on the power play. Sabres really didn't look good on that power play until Briere was able to beat Fleury. Drury and Kodalik draw the assists at 1:26 of the second period.
And because of the penalties that Pittsburgh's taking, this is Mario Lemieux's first shift in 7 minutes. It's a long time to have the big guy sitting.
And you heard he had that shift of over a minute to start the game, but just 4:34 in the first period. Here's a chance, and Lippman stopped by Fleury. as the young goaltender came well out to challenge, and now Palffy has Crosby with him. 2-on-1, Palffy a shot, and Biron the answer. Palffy ridden off the puck by Tallender, and Pominville will get it out of there. Ryan Whitney at center ice for Orpik, gets to the red line and pumps it right back in on Biron. Sarovi couldn't hook up with Matt Hussey. Big hit by Malone on Lidman. That causes a turnover. Malone try and power his way in front. Tallender knocked him down, and there'll be a penalty coming up against Henrik Tallender. Hussey checked. Sarovi one-hands it to the net, and the whistle is blown, and the penalty upcoming against the Sabres.
Well, it's not hard to miss this one. In front of the net, Malone, a player who is desperately in his own world of struggles, trying to get his game back on track. Does his magic behind the net, and then is pulled down by Tallender. Right there.
24th time this year Pittsburgh has allowed the opponent to score first. Let's see if they can respond now on the power play.
And Malone's a power forward, and he's got one goal in his past 12 games. In 03-04, we would have saw him fight through that check, take it to the net. That he's not as confident as he once was.
6'4", 219. So he should be a tough man to handle, particularly in the new restraining rules. There's Gonchar putting it to the net, deflected wide. Willett after it. Blake's a 30-goal scorer in the American Hockey League. Gonchar fires off McKee and wide. Bad angle shot, rebound, scores! And there is Michel Willett's first National Hockey League goal. A kid who got to play on the power play because he impressed his old coach in Wilkes-Barre.
Past 2 years, let's introduce you to Maxim Willett. He has led the AHL Wilkes-Barre Scranton team in scoring. He's played one game. He's got good hands. He stands in front of the net. He's got a good quick stick. And there he shows you exactly what he does best. His Pittsburgh team, the past 9 games, only 14 goals. They're desperate for goals. Willett comes into the lineup. Ryan Vanderbush's wave to make room for him, and the dividends pay off immediately.
Had a 12-game point streak in Wilkes-Barre and was among the scoring leaders in the American Hockey League for Michel Therrien, and Michel Willett has a power play goal from Recchi and Christensen. And now Malone a shot, and the rebound just cleared by Campbell.
While junior fans would recognize the name from the 2000 Rimouski Memorial Cup, where he was a member of that team and won the Memorial Cup.
He played with the same franchise as Sidney Crosby, but they were not teammates. He's a few years older at 23. Now Bannock's got some room, overskated the puck, tried to pop it in the slot. Crosby's got it. Another grad of the Rimouski Oceanic pulling away. Crosby trying to work his way in, and a one-hander, a dazzling Crosby rush, stopped by Biron, and the fans up in arms that there was no penalty call as Crosby fought through the checks. You're expecting a penalty there. Here's a giveaway. Drury's in. Chris Drury, and he's stopped, but that will draw a penalty. Big stop by Marc-Andre Fleury. No call on Crosby. Drury draws a penalty, and it's coming up against Pittsburgh.
Crosby has a legitimate beef. He keeps his feet moving, all kinds of speed. That could have been a penalty. Well, let's pass him off to Ludman. That could have been a penalty. Puck was already gone. That could have been a penalty. And the whole way up the ice, wishing the referee a Merry Christmas. In a lot of different languages, however.
Now Sidney Crosby all over Greg Kimmerly at the end of that play, and he can talk to the officials now because he's got the A.
All it takes is a little needle and thread, and you can complain all you want.
Remember when he got called in Philadelphia for unsportsmanlike, complaining about a no call. We've had 2 power play goals in this second period, one by either team. The Sabres go back to work with the man advantage. Mellicar to the line, and it will come out. There's Tim Connolly the gifted center who plays the right point to start the power play for Buffalo. A lot of speculation now. Connolly may be getting more consideration for the U.S. Olympic team with his fine play so far this year with the Sabres. That puck whizzed by his ear as the Penguins clear it down the ice.
Well, we forget that he didn't play at all in the 03-04 season. In a preseason game, he got a concussion. And so this guy, he's a nice addition to Buffalo's lineup without having to add a player other than one that was off the injured reserve.
Chris Drury, Ryan Campbell on the other side. A big shot off Fleury as Connolly took the one-timer. Odeline battling, puck loose, and away goes Mark Recchi. Over 1,200 games in the National Hockey League for the 37-year-old. And Recchi sends it down. Now he'll peel off and head to the Pittsburgh bench on a change. Campbell leads the Buffalo Rush. 40 seconds left in the power play. Ryan Whitney, good-looking young defenseman for the Penguins, gets it out. Murley overskates it, and Afinogenov came back to regain possession for Vanek. Thomas Vanek in, and Fleury had to be sharp on that kick save. Puck into the air, knocked away, and here's Endicott. He's got Whitney hopping up, puck in front off a skate as Endicott couldn't get it to Ryan Whitney, who jumped up in the rush. Newman for Afinogenov, dying seconds of this Sabre power play that has now scored goals in 23 of the last 26 games with the man advantage.
There's that structure Mario Lemieux talking about, Chris. They're trapping. If they can't get a forecheck, they're going to stand back in mid-ice and force a turnover.
Adam Mayer just a couple of shifts in the first period because of the numerous power play opportunities out there now with Gostad and Pominville. There's Gostad, big 28, who scored his first NHL goal against Marc-Andre Fleury and the Penguins in their first meeting. This is the third of four, and again, they will play back in Buffalo tomorrow. Big day on the Buffalo sports scene, a 5 o'clock start, and then an evening Bills game. Over 100,000 people will watch the two games in Buffalo tomorrow. And here, power play goals for either side in the second.
This is what you missed in the break. Sidney Crosby talking to the referee and saying, that was a penalty. I want consistency. You called it at my end. Why didn't you call it at the other end? We don't mind that you call it on our hockey club. Make sure it goes both ways.
7:40 into the second period. And an icing call against Buffalo.
Well, from the Buffalo Sabres standpoint, there's an old saying, it is much easier to keep it going than get it going. And they've had a wonderful string here, 7 straight road games. 1-1 tie with 12 minutes left to go in the second period. If they can drive the level of this game up and force Pittsburgh to play a little bit of run and gun, they would be on the cusp of getting their 8th road win.
Looking ahead, Monday, they are in Philadelphia. Another tough test to keep things going. Here's a chance in front. And that puck high in the air. Fleury looking for it in the goal mouth. Back to the point, McKee. He'll send it across. Hesh scores! Jochen Hesh with a rocket. And it's 2-1 Buffalo.
Give Vanek all the credit. He creates the chance. By creating the chance, then all of a sudden, total confusion in Pittsburgh's zone. We've seen this storyline before. There's the good chance. Now the battle's on. You got 3-4 Pittsburgh Penguins playing net, and ultimately all you need is one. There are too many bodies in the way. And for Fleury, screened by Hesh, Gonchar, doesn't get a good look at it.
So Hesh scores his 7th. It has been scoring by committee in Buffalo. Everybody chipping in, and now Hesh has the go-ahead goal for the Sabres. So 3 goals in the opening 8 minutes and change here in the second period. Jay McKee drawing the assist. And now Kodalik off his stick as Matt Hussey was dogging him. Kodalik back to Campbell at the point. Kodalik with a One-timer right on. He goes after it again. Briere along the boards, wins the puck in front. And a puck off the post as Conley nearly made it 3-1. Sabres coming close. Gloved down by Sarovi. Thomas Sarovi into the corner. Sent around to the far side. Odeline, delayed penalty coming up against Buffalo. And here comes the call. And maybe the politicking by Crosby earlier had an impact.
It certainly does, because he actually did something a lot of players don't do when they talk to a referee. He listened and was very cooperative and polite. However, that being said, what is a post at one end and maybe could have put this game out of reach for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They don't score a lot of goals, 9 goals, 14 goals in the last 9 games. Now, all of a sudden, we have a window of opportunity right in the corner there. Sarovi's stick. Newman holding the stick. And as a result, Pittsburgh gets a chance with their offensive firepower to go back to the power play.
4th power play of the game for the Penguins. The shots are even at 15 apiece.
And watch the job that Greer and Drury do on this penalty kill. They are an excellent pair at killing penalties, and both have done a fabulous job. One of the reasons for the great success in the penalty kill of the Buffalo Sabres.
Here's Crosby with the puck high, winds and fires right on. You're on the stop, and it's cleared down the ice. Ziggy Palffy on the ice. He has 699 career points. Gonchar and Whitney deliver the puck deep. Comes around for Lemieux. He finds Palffy. Back to Whitney and through the wickets. Back into Pittsburgh territory. Meter running in the first minute of this power play done. Big Ryan Whitney takes a return pass from Gonchar. Once a 26-goal scorer in the NHL. Twice a 20-goal man. But again, nothing since early November for a guy who signed a 5-year, $25 million deal. Let's see what 55 generates here. He's got Recchi moving on the right side with Christensen. Recchi holds. Whitney moves deep. Puck went by Christensen. Ouellet centers. Whitney a whack at it. Ouellet now in front, and it comes to Whitney. Here's Gonchar. Shot right on. And Biron stayed with it with Ouellet all over him. And the Sabres get it out with Gostad. And Conley, he'll send it deep. And Newman standing, about to return 5 seconds from now. Ryan Whitney ahead. That went past Malone. Newman back on the ice. And the Penguins 1 for 4 with the man advantage. Here's Briere at center. Can't get past Melikar. Turnstrom. Back to Joseph Melikar. Malone looks cross ice. Hussey on the move. Watched by Littman. Hussey circles in the backhand. Just went wide. Turnstrom plays it back in behind the Buffalo net. And the steady Tony Littman, or Lutman, works his way across the Pittsburgh line. A cross ice pass. Briere gloves down. He'll play it deep. Finneganov drops it for Briere. Tried to set up Derek Roy. Unable to do so. Newman keeps it in. Here's a Finneganov. Dashing in. Briere in front of whack. 2 whacks. And Marc-Andre Fleury makes the save. 2-1 Sabres. The NHL on TSN presents the Colorado Avalanche and the Nashville Predators. The Preds 4 points back of Detroit in the Central Division of the NHL coming up Tuesday. We'll see Nashville.
Who do you play, Thomas Vakoun or Dominic Hasek? That's going to be a tough question.
I think I know the answer. I think I know the answer.
Yeah, maybe.
But you've got a pretty good insurance policy there. Here's Crosby working down the ice again, trying to fight through the check again. Lemieux in the slot. Crosby down again, and the fans respond, but the officials don't. And a Finneganov's back. Across it goes, just out of the reach of the intended target. And Palffy now starts the Penguin rush with Crosby and Lemieux. Palffy, Lemieux, the one-timer off Vanek wide. Crosby chops at it, Gonchar will try and keep it in. Can't hold the zone. And out it comes to center. Here's Derek Roy with Vanek. Roy across. Great pass. And a better stop by Marc-Andre Fleury. On a stop from Brian Campbell, let's check in again with Lindy Rupp.
Way to be active. Way to be active. Come on, let's get some shots here from the back end. Get the puck on the net. Weak side guy, be ready. There we go.
Has one assist from the back end tonight. Jay McKee assisting on the second Buffalo goal. There's McKee with it. Can't hold it in. Paired with Rory Fitzpatrick back in the lineup with the broken finger to Dmitry Kalinin. And Fitzpatrick responded well the other night against Dallas. He was +2 in the game. Adam Mayer has it. Looks for Big Kostas. He was well covered there by Recchi. Ouellet, who has his first NHL goal here in the second period, was embossed along the boards, and a penalty coming up against Adam Mayer. And it will be boarding.
Don't often get to see this called. Adam Mayer trying to put some enthusiasm, some energy into the lineup. Lindy Rupp tries to use his fourth line. Tough to do with all the penalties that have been called thus far, but the game tomorrow night at 5 o'clock, he puts his fourth line out, and you really don't want your fourth line to be taking penalties. 2-1 game, you want energy. You want to put teams on their heels.
I thought that was a good hockey hit.
The old NHL.
I know Adam Mayer thought that. Mayer scored his first NHL goal, although it officially doesn't go in the books as that, but because it was in the playoffs here in this building for the Toronto Maple Leafs a number of years back. Well, we get a second chance to assess these calls.
And there it is. Ooh. Assess that yourself, folks.
Do not adjust your set. Penguins on the power play looking for the equalizer. Gonchar sent it in, but that hit Lemieux on the back of the ankle. It's not going to make you very popular with the owner of the team, is it? Lemieux crashing in, trying to get possession. Gonchar stepped up, bounced right by him, and Greer's away with Drury. Drury trying to make it a 2-on-1. It's a 3-on-2 as Tallender, the late man, got the shot. Drury working for the rebound. Gonchar gets it back. Dangerous play, shorthanded. The Sabres have 2 shorthanded goals on the year. The Penguins have surrendered 6. Both shorties have been scored by Jochen Hesch for Buffalo. Palffy works it back, and there's Turnstrom. 12 power play goals in the last NHL season. Palffy, Crosby parked right on the porch. Here's Palffy trying to get it across, denied, and Tallender clears.
And noticeably absent from this Pittsburgh power play, their 5-year, $25 million man, Sergei Gonchar, who's been replaced by some cheaper product.
There's Ouellet, who has the power play goal for Pittsburgh. Knocked down. Ouellet tries to center. Nearly banked that one in off Biron. Odeline to the point. Here's Turnstrom sizing it up. Back to Odeline. 20 seconds left in the power play. Odeline instead of Gonchar. What do you think?
I think he'd be my 19th choice. I might put the backup goalie out there instead.
Christensen to Recchi for Ouellet. In front, knocked to the point. Turnstrom across. And Christensen the shot. And another penalty coming up. As knocked down in front, Mark Recchi sent sprawling just as the Mayer minor had expired.
The key showing what he does best, a block shot, and then maybe what he does not so best by taking the penalty and putting Pittsburgh back on the power play.
Pittsburgh 1 for 5 tonight. Lemieux on this draw against Drury, pulls it back, and Tallender has control and will send it 200 feet. Under 5 minutes left in the second period. And the Penguins looking for the tying goal. Gonchar out with Turnstrom. Lead pass Lemieux. Crosby follows. Lemieux swings it back. Gonchar and Turnstrom. deployed on the points. Gonchar whistled that just wide. He'll get another chance. Greer hurting as it glanced off Greer, and he's in pain. Let's see if Gonchar can take advantage. Across, Lemieux in the slot. Turns from in deep. Lemieux and Palffy battling behind the net against Tallender. And up with it, Numminen. And Greer, in a lot of difficulty, gets it down the ice and will glide to the Sabre bench for a change and some relief. Gonchar back in. He spots Christensen off the glove of Biron. Recchi has it behind the net, trying to hook up with Ouellette. Sabres have it, and Hesht will work it down into the Pittsburgh zone, using the linesman as a blocker, and then got nailed. Mark Recchi, the wrecking ball, took him off the puck, and Whitney's in. Over the line, and an offside called at the Buffalo line. As things heat up, it's Connolly jostling there after the whistle.
Closed captioning of the NHL on TSN is brought to you by Kia, the fastest growing automaker in the world.
Mark Recchi trying to be physical in every sense of the word.
You know, this morning he mentioned how frustrated he was with the lack of compete that he has seen in some of his teammates during this dry spell. He said, you know, during times when teams he was on that were in the 500 or sub 500 range, they were usually the hardest working teams, but it hasn't been the case here.
He's a whopping -20, and I think that's a trouble spot for him. Playing center with Ryan Malone and Mario Lemieux, that line was pathetic in the defensive side of the game. And you know, with regards to Recchi, 13 games, this guy didn't get a single assist.
There's a chance. Malone scores! Ryan Malone has tied it on the power play.
Second goal in 12 games. All about release here. Good play. Up the ice. 1-2 passes. Good puck movement. And Biron just a little off his angle. 7-hole. Quick release.
Just his 6th of the year. It ends an 11-game drought for Ryan Malone, who had 22 in his rookie year. Power play goal again for Pittsburgh. Michel Therrien said this morning, you want to be at least +1 in the special teams battles. And right now, they are. Malone from Sorobi and Whitney, 17-11. Time of the equalizer. So Buffalo has enjoyed 2-1 goal leads, and the Penguins have responded twice. And that has energized the Igloo. Bodalik on the forecheck, outletted to Ouellette, who has the other Penguin marker. Endicott trying to catch up with it. Gave a little tug to Campbell, and yes, that is enough to draw the penalty. And Endicott will head off.
It's unfortunate because Endicott was busting free here. This guy can score. He had 36 goals his last year with Seattle. Doesn't skate that well. And Campbell gets back, and Endicott is forced to take a hooking penalty. So the penalty parade for both teams continues.
Yes, we'll have the 13th power play of the night, with just over 2 minutes remaining in the second period.
And that's the third minor for Endicott this evening. So you're not putting yourself in the good books of the new coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins. You're spending 6 minutes in the box.
Here's Campbell starting the play. Hesh moves in the Pittsburgh territory. Connolly and Campbell the point men. Ryan Campbell in deep for Briere. Hesh parks in front. Drury poised at the side of the Pittsburgh net. There's Drury. Launched by Odeline. Back up top, Briere. Campbell fired, tipped, and cleared. As Fleury made the stop, Christensen sends it down the ice. Campbell back to get it. 6 goals on the year. His career high prior to this season was 3. Hesh stopped. Got it back. Drury holds it in. Pinball to the end boards. Up in the air now. Dropping down to the crease. Drury down, and it's chipped over the net by Kodalik. Picked off by Orpik. Pittsburgh in some disarray. Orpik can't get it off the glass and out. Buffalo holds the zone. Drury hauled down. Campbell across. Kodalik scores! Another power play goal in the final minute of the second period. It's 3-2 Buffalo.
Well, this Buffalo team is so speedy. They forced the turnover. Orpik has a great chance to get the puck down the ice. He's on his back end. He doesn't want to shoot in the crowd because that would be a penalty. So he turns it over there. And then everybody is out of position because Pittsburgh thinks that the puck should have left the zone. And the patience, Kodalik gets into a seam, gets into a scoring spot, knows that Fleury's on his way over, but knows all he has to do, put it in the top part of the net, and he places it perfectly.
Yeah, he's going to cash that chip just about every time. His 15th of the year, his 10th on the power play, and both are team leads for the Sabres. Alesh Kodalik trying to strengthen his bid for a spot on the Czech Olympic team. So both teams have a pair of power play goals on the night, and the Sabres have their third 1-goal lead of the game. Kodalik from Campbell and Drury as Biron makes 2 stops.
Good position there, Goss. 3 guys nice and tight. Good job. Spread them out. Spread them out. Take your ice, Palmer. Good job. That's a great counter there. That's a great counter. Don't get caught too tight there. Don't get caught too tight.
His reaction to the tying goal by Pittsburgh. Ryan Malone. We could sit down in the third period, let Lindy take over.
You'd have to have subtitles to explain what he's talking about.
He works the full 60 minutes, though, doesn't he? Dying seconds of a entertaining second period that has produced 5 goals. 4 on the power play. And that will do it through 40 minutes. The shots dead even at 21 apiece. 3-2 Buffalo as we send it back to James Duthie.
It's your second period scoring summary. Briere on the power play. Bunch of power play goals in that period. And Buffalo with a 1-goal lead. Here are Chris and Glenn with the call of the third.
Thank you, James. 5 times in the last 8 games. The Buffalo Sabres have won 3-2. They lead 3-2 here as they try to extend their win streak to 5, their road win streak to 8. And if Pittsburgh wants to change that, they have to come from behind for the first time after a 40-minute deficit all season long. They're 0-14-4 when trailing after 2.
Yeah, Sabres are big fans of 1-goal games. They can play in them. They have the goaltending that allows you to play in them. They've got the defensive system that allows you to play in them. But not good news for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're 0-14-4 when trailing after 2. In fact, the only time they've come back when trailing after 2 was against Buffalo, November 14th of 2003, over a year ago.
Speaking of streaks, remember Marty Biron looking for his 12th straight win as a starting netminder. Pushed ahead, and Willette tried to get loose. There's Briere, who has one of the Buffalo goals. Briere sending it ahead. Christensen just getting off the ice in the middle of a Pittsburgh change that looked like they had too many. Here's the kid, Sidney Crosby, checked by Greer. And play is stopped. Crosby with 5 shots through 40 minutes of play.
Second period, what would have been the game-winning goal. Brooks Orpik, what a wonderful shift. Misses it there. I'll be on board. Seconds later, gives the puck away when he gets a chance here to get it out. All he has to do is get it out. No, he doesn't get it out. And other than putting the puck in his own net, I really don't know what more he could have done to put his team in a deficit. Minus 36 in 03-04. He's a big hitter, but he's got to learn to play in his own zone.
There's Jay McKee regaining his balance, and Lemieux picks his pocket. Here's Mario looking across, can't hook up with Crosby. Sidney Crosby and Briere leading ice time among forwards in this game. 14:35 for Crosby through 40 minutes, 14:36 for Briere.
That little play there by Lemieux, how many times have we seen him come across that blue line, get the game at his own pace, make a move, cut to the middle, and then he's dangerous. Just not the confidence and the poise that he once had. A little bit of rust on his game right now.
There's your buddy Orpik moving in on the offense, trying to atone. Gets it back to his partner Odeline. Sorovi side of the net. He'll swing it back. And Orpik behind the back pass. Odeline, that shot hits Sorovi on the way to the net. Odeline keeps it alive though. Hussey for Sorovi. A quick shot right under Ron. The rebound finally collected by the Sabres, and out they come. They'll drop it down the ice, Vanek, and that triggers wholesale changes on either side. With the one exception of Odeline, who headmans the puck, and now he'll go off. Joseph Melikar at center. Shane Endicott inside the Buffalo line, taken away by Tallender. Into the far corner, after it there, Pominville, and he's run over by Big Endicott. Andre Roy with it, and the net dislodged. We'll have a face-off in the Buffalo zone, and it's time for an update with Darren Detition.
All right, thanks very much, gentlemen. Chicago and St. Louis. Rennie Bork wires one. Andy Hilbert tips it. It goes past Curtis Sanford. That's his second of the season. 1-0 Hawks.
And Dutch is saying, don't throw to me when we got something going on the ice, but it was quickly broken up. Maybe a response to this.
He likes the rough stuff. Big hit by Roy, and an even bigger hit by Endicott. That's what you need from your fourth line. You've got to create some energy here. You've got to get this Buffalo team to stop skating. You've got to get this Buffalo team to try to protect the lead. Stop playing. Stop moving your feet.
Penguins have been goal-starved. Just once in the last 8 games have they scored at least 3 goals. They'll need more than that tonight. Adam Mayer as Lindy Ruff counters.
We can play that game too. Watch our guys do the same thing.
And there's Mayer going after Recchi. Got a little piece of Recchi that time. Caused the turnover. Christensen behind the net. Willette was hit, and the Sabres have it. Like what Lindy Ruff said about Adam Mayer, he kind of sends a message every night that the Buffalo Sabres have come to play.
Well, you talked about Adam Mayer getting his first goal in this building in the playoffs with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I was a member of that Toronto Maple Leaf team, and Pat Quinn made healthy scratches of guys like Jonas Höglund, and believe it or not, Freddie Modine, so he could put Adam Mayer in the lineup and create that energy when we need it the most. Worked in that series, but the next series we played Buffalo. Didn't work so much there.
No. Whitney around the board, waiting for it there was a Sabre. Briere behind the net, Connolly out with him. Briere battling against Crosby, and Briere comes up with the puck. Nearly came out in front, now bounced by Crosby. A shot from the point sailed over the shoulder of Marc-Andre Fleury. And now sent to center, Lemieux, upended by Fitzpatrick. He had Crosby breaking, couldn't get him the puck. Briere along the boards, watched by Palffy, tried to drop it back, no one was home. Briere waiting for a change, spots Campbell, who is the lead man, the defenseman for Buffalo, in deepest. He'll swing it, back to Greer behind the net, couldn't come up with it, and Hussey will take charge. Matt Hussey lost it at center. There's a turnover. Right back in comes Hesh, and he was poke checked. Comes outside the line. Drury will send it in, and they'll tag up an Odeline. Brooks Orpik off the boards ahead. Hussey sends it deep. In on the forecheck. Sorovi bouncing Campbell. Greer hit by Orpik, who stepped up and delivered a good, solid check.
That is what he does best. He is an enormous hitter. You don't often see that from college guys, but boy, can he lay the body on guys.
Now Endicott trying to get to the red line. Puts it in. Past the 5-minute mark of the third. Campbell spots Derek Roy on the left flank. The Kitchener Ranger product moves in. Chases it. He's taken out by Mellicar. Up ahead, Gonchar. Looking for Murley. And now Andre Roy tries to set up Murley on the right side. Tallender back to get it. Roy had him lined up, and Tallender just avoided the check. Gonchar for big Andre Roy. Tallender takes it away. On the backhand, can't get it out. Well, it does bounce off Christensen and out to center ice. Roy gets it. He'll deposit it back in the zone, and that will trigger a change for Pittsburgh. Recchi's on the ice with Christensen and Ouellette. That's Ouellette here on the right wing. 30 points in the American Hockey League, his first NHL goal tonight. Ryan Whitney on the backhand. Christensen, the Leduc, Alberta product, who once led the Western Hockey League in scoring and has an assist here tonight. Put it in, and now Turnstrom sends it right back into Buffalo ice.
Well, Buffalo, they're so quick. You get the puck, they pressure you. They force you to take that puck and put it into another spot. Take the pressure off.
Here's a break. Gostad unable to get a stick on it as Mayer looked for him. Ryan Whitney nailed by Mayer. Pominville looking for the loose change along the boards with Mayer, but the Penguins come up with it, and out they come. Ziggy Palffy with Crosby digging, and the pass went by Crosby. Palffy takes over again. Back to Odenline. Across it goes. Orpik shot knocked down along the way, and Gostad out to center. Buffalo changing. Odenline's got it. He'll send it deep. In after it, Malone. Ryan Malone to the front of the net. Couldn't corral it. Odenline steps up. He'll roll it back in. Malone battling with Fitzpatrick. Connolly in support. Up ahead for Briere. Dashing out to center. On the left side, he's got Kotelik, who's got the game-winning goal as it stands, as he did the last time these two teams met. Gamble chased back by Malone. Malone with the check. Here's Sarovi swinging it across. And now Briere has some room. Fans reacted as Campbell took down his man. Here's a chance. Connolly off the shoulder. Rebound. And somehow Fleury came across. Not sure it got through. Here's Newman sending it back towards the net. Briere in behind the goal. Briere's been a handful tonight. This time can't get it to the point to Campbell. All the way back into the Buffalo zone. Great pass by Biron. And Briere had trouble with it. He's nailed by Mellicar. Long shift without a whistle, and Murley delivers the shot right on. Played ahead to Greer. Up for Briere. End of a shift. And he'll just play it deep and get to the bench. 8.5 minutes gone, third period. Still 3-2 Sabres. Orpik off target. Tallender pounded there by Endicott. There's Orpik stepping up. Waugh along the boards. Plays it back in. Odenline will step up against Greer. Odenline lost his footing. Waugh crashing in. Puck loose for Endicott. Can't get a shot away. Good play there defensively by Jochen Hecht. Odenline again. Rolls it back in. Intensity increasing here.
Pittsburgh Penguins have a couple things going against them. The score and the clock. 10:47 left to go in a game that they need a goal to tie and another one to win.
It has been a low shot third period. Pretty good pace right now as Recchi bouncing in against Fitzpatrick. Ouellette along the boards. Looks to center and swept it across. Turnstrom playing it for Christensen. There's Ouellette. Recchi looking for ice in front. Christensen hauled down by Afinogenov. Penalty coming up. Turnstrom shot blocked by McKee. And Christensen down. A Penguin power play coming up.
Middle of your screen. Eric Christensen gets pulled down by Afinogenov. Buffalo thinks it's a bit of a dive, so they make sure there. But the Fitzpatrick cross-check. Well, I'll show you what's going to put you on your keister. One call, on a Finnegan off. And so the Pittsburgh Penguins get a chance to tie the hockey game with their big line on the ice.
Crosby, Lemieux, Palffy up front, yet to register a point so far tonight. Gonchar, Whitney on the back end. And Connolly and Hesh, the penalty killers to start. We have hit the 10-minute mark, third period. Here come the Penguins, broken up at the line by Drury. An offside called, and looked like Crosby took a high stick at the end of that play.
And Whitney, as he's coming up the ice there, he is a young player from Boston University. Now, you have some firepower on the ice. You have Lemieux on the ice. You've got Palffy on the ice. Give the puck to one of those players. He doesn't. He goes offside, and Drury ends up slashing Crosby on the foot.
And again, he blocked a shot last month in a game, and it hobbled him for a couple of weeks. And I wonder if he got the tender spot on that slash from Drury. So Matt Hussey comes out. Hussey must have impressed the coach in the minors, because he's not an offensive threat at this level without an NHL goal. But he's on the power play here midway through the third period with Lemieux and Palffy on his flanks.
16 goals in the minors last year, not a plethora of goals.
Hussey gets it to Palffy. Tried the return pass, broken up by Newman. Now Hussey has it. He'll swing it to Lemieux, back of the net. Mario Lemieux in front of Hussey, and Buron down, and the puck is cleared down the ice. A dangerous moment there in the Buffalo goal crease. 35 seconds left of power play time. Here comes Gonchar leading the rush. Christensen out. He drew the penalty. Now has it. Good move to kick it and then get it to Gonchar. Couldn't sift it through. Christensen fires, and that hit Willett in front. Recchi curling. Christensen couldn't find the pass. Now takes control. Right, the back pass, and that was broken up by the steady 37-year-old veteran, Teppo Numminen. The penalty to a Finneganov has expired. Buffalo remains in charge, 3-2. Just over 8 minutes to play. Here's Line in. Turns it over just inside the line. Sabres trying to counter, and Tallender couldn't get loose.
We had a great talk with Marty Biron the other day, talking about how his team is so effective and how they help him out. How many shots did they block there on that penalty kill? Shots that don't get through to the net. There's no chance for those pucks to go in. It's such a team effort with the Buffalo Sabres.
Third best power play, eighth best penalty kill. One of 5 teams in the NHL, along with Detroit, Ottawa, Colorado, and Minnesota, that are in the top 10 of both categories. And again, another reason this team is just flying along, looking for their 8th straight road win here in Pittsburgh.
Another block shot there. Doesn't get through to the net. Here comes the counter game.
Then again, that shot blocked. Ryan Whitney comes up with it. It's in a low shot period. Just 2-1 the shots as we approach 13 minutes of the third period. 2-1 in this period in favor of Pittsburgh. Armstrong recovering there with Vanek almost stealing it. Now Vanek's got it, put it across. McKee steps up. Jay McKee behind the net. It's centered for Roy, and he couldn't get the backhand pass to a Finneganov. Played back. Here's Fitzpatrick right on. Just the second Sabre shot, but they have the lead. I think a few guys watching tonight might be parked in front of the TV tomorrow. Just 3 games for you, an NFL triple header on TSN.
It's not the CFL. Hey, Chris Cuthbert, not the men's league.
I think the CFL's ever had a triple header.
You have enough teams for it?
I have to work on that. 6.5 minutes to go here. Buffalo trying to preserve this 1-goal lead. North Dakota Leafs power play marker standing up so far. Gostad, Pominville, Mayer out for the Sabres. There's Jason Pominville battling. Now Gostad takes over. Mayer wrap around, and he swung it right through the blue ice. Gostad's on it now. Good work by this fourth line. Gostad squeezed off the puck by Christensen, but Buffalo holds the zone. Gostad again in front. Recchi's got it, and he'll take off. Recchi at the end of the shift, however, and he has to guide it down and get the change.
Too much time in Pittsburgh's end. As a result, Pittsburgh's out of gas. They can't create any offense. Great job by the fourth line, killing the clock, killing time, emptying the fuel tanks for Pittsburgh.
Crosby on the ice trying to get his offensive game back. Drury, a couple of assists here tonight. Looks across, and Greer couldn't bat that out of midair. Crosby had 10 goals in 11 games, then 4 without, and he's in a stretch with just 1 in his last 8, which happens to NHL rookies no matter how gifted they are. Pass across, and Drury's going to chase it down on the far side. Crosby watching him. There's a shot right on head. Trying to find the rebound. Drury's got it. Rolling it in, and Marc-Andre Fleury will smother the puck.
22nd coach for the Penguins said he wants work ethic, attitude, and desire to win. This is the last line change for Pittsburgh. Are you kidding me? Eddie O wouldn't throw any players under the bus. But this new guy, Terrian, he's ordering more buses. We see line changes like that and work ethic like that.
Taking names right now.
Better get a big pad.
Mark Recchi, when the decision was made a couple of days ago, made a phone call to his old teammate Saku Koivu to get a scouting report and got a positive one on the new head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins, who lost just 1 regulation game in 25 starts in Wilkes-Barre, in danger of losing his first with the big club here tonight. 4.5 minutes to go. And the Penguins down 4-3 to a Sabres club trying to move within 3 of Ottawa for first in the Northeast. But here's Sorovi in on the attack. A shot on Biron, who couldn't find the rebound. And neither could Matt Hussey in time. Melikar bouncing it towards the net. That was broken up by Newman, and he can't clear. Sorovi sends it back in front, and Cooley J. McKee outlets to Briere. Daniel Briere's been steady tonight. He goes to the bench on a change. Less than 4 to go. Brooks Orpik and Odeline trying to work their way ahead, being watched closely by Vanek and Afinogenov. Derek Roy plays it off the boards and out. Orpik takes a look. Got Ouellette on the right wing. He couldn't find the handle and was jolted by Brian Campbell. Recchi now back in after it. Mark Recchi got the back pass. A former Kamloops Chief, who is centered by a former Kamloops Blazer, but look out, 2-on-1. It's Roy and Vanek, and that was broken up by Orpik. So after some scathing criticism from my partner, Orpik is rebounding a bit here in the third period.
A good play on the 2-on-1, no question. How about the pinch by Odeline? He wasn't even in the time zone when they got that 2-on-1. That's where you've got to get back. If you've made a bad pinch or you've given the puck away, you should be the fastest player on the ice.
There's Ryan Whitney. Fine rookie, a pass that skipped over the stick of Lemieux. Looked like he was wide open on the left side. He's got it now. Lemieux back, and Whitney fans. It ends up on Lemieux's stick. He looks for Crosby. Tallender all over him, but Crosby comes up with a puck, backhands it at the net. And the rebound cleared. Drury challenged by the pinching Tarnstrom. Crosby across Whitney, and he rolled it wide. What a setup as Crosby found Whitney streaking in. Crosby holds it. Lemieux fans back to Crosby. Polfi scores. No. Somehow Marty Biron's got it, and it didn't cross the line. And I gotta see this again.
Well, when you have won 11 in a row and you're going for 12.
No! How did he stop
that? And you give up a 3-on-2 in front of the net with the 3 most dangerous players on the ice. Lemieux fans on the first one, but look at this pass.
Oh,
This is going to be reviewed, there's no question. It's a reviewable situation because did that go in?
What an extraordinary stop. Whether it's ruled or not, and they are going to go upstairs.
Well, you see Buffalo, they're all lined up at the face-off,
let's
and
go.
They're saying, come on, drop the puck, let's go. They're on right away. As a goaltender, you tend to know right away whether the puck has gone in the net, and it has to be fully conclusive that the entire puck crosses the line.
Because the official waved it off. He said no goal, so they have to have conclusive evidence on the video replay.
He has gone upstairs, so as a result, and that angle shows it.
It's deceiving.
Not from above.
Not from above. You could see white ice, but that's a deceiving angle that is inconclusive. They need to be up top over the net.
What part of the glove did the puck hit? Did it go in the pocket, the back part of the glove? Did it go in the palm? And since it's upstairs now, it's in the hands of the video review judge. The referee's made his call. Now it's up to people upstairs or people in Toronto that watch these. And we'll be looking for not only replays from this building, but replays from the Pittsburgh television and from our truck. If we can manage to get a replay that shows some sort of conclusive result to this.
Well, is it one of the saves of the year or the tying goal with 2:17 remaining?
There were 16,000 plus people with their hands in the air thinking that this was a goal.
And one of the more reliable goal scorers in the NHL with the puck on his stick, Ziggy Palffy, wondering if he's got point number 700 of his NHL career. But when you're hot, you're hot. And Marty Biron is on fire.
He was such a quick goaltender, doesn't give up on the play, he stays deep in his net, and by staying deep in his net, he doesn't chase the game. He's able to get across and make the save. It's fully a desperation save. However, from the replays that we have seen from the truck, it doesn't look like the puck fully crossed the line or that you can conclusively tell that that puck had crossed the line. And even Palffy's not quite sure. His expression shows he's not sure.
And they are taking their time. This is as long as a review as you'll see.
And this is a lesson to the National Hockey League. Spend $5 million, get excellent overhead cameras, ones that zoom in, not the commercial grade, but a television style camera. It'll cost $5 million, and you'll be able to tell every goal in every arena. Invest the money, because franchises, the livelihoods of people, players, coaches, it relies on that.
I've almost thought you almost need a black border on that red line in the net to help identify, because it gets dug up in there, that red paint, and sometimes it's...
I don't care if you've got to sit Franklin, our stats guy, on top of the net to say that it's in and sacrifice his body. Let's find out if these goals conclusively go in the net. And this one's a tough one. You can tell the length of time they're searching for the different angles.
Look at the fans in the stands, most of them over 16,000 on their feet, wanting to celebrate. There has been one overhead view on the score clock that really is tough to tell, and you know that in Toronto they're replaying that one over and over again, the glove on the line, and as you mentioned, where is the puck in the glove? That's inconclusive and would lead you to believe that this score is going to stay 3-2.
And even the camera that they have from up above, I can read the signs from behind the net. Why? I don't need to read that. All I need to see is that goal line. Tell me if that puck crossed the line.
And they have just pointed to center ice. Palffy has scored. The Zapruder film apparently provided enough evidence. And Ziggy Palffy has scored the tying goal, his 11th of the year, with 2:17 on the clock.
His first game back after missing 3 with a groin pull. He couldn't come back, and the lineup at a better time or score a bigger goal for this franchise at a better time.
Crosby and Lemieux assist. Big hit there on Gonchar. On Palffy's 11th, and maybe the most controversial goal scored against Buffalo since Brett Hull in '99. McKee! And that one bounced just wide. It has the intensity cranked up here. Adam Mayer got it started and puts it into the glove of Marc-Andre Fleury with 1:47 to go. Tonight's game story brought to you by Molson Canadian.
Power plays the story tonight, 2 each for both teams. The game-tying goal with 2:17 remaining. And Ales Kotelik scores what would have been the game-winning goal. It was his first shift in 9 minutes. And Michel Ouellette gets his first goal in the National Hockey League.
And the play that most people will be talking about at the end of this night. The video reviewed tying goal by Ziggy Palffy. Now Lemieux with the puck. Oh, he tried to spring Palffy again. And the puck got by the man who has knotted this score. Now the Sabres work out to center. Here's Briere looking across on the far side. Played by Kotelik in behind the net. Connolly jostling with Palffy. And Palffy has earned plaudits for his defensive work since being here in Pittsburgh. Back defensively there, and now coming up with the puck and getting it out. 66 seconds remaining in regulation time, tied at 3.
1 minute remaining in the period. 1 minute.
Now Malone fishing for it. Handled there along the boards by Kotelik and played in by Pittsburgh. Final minute regulation time. A 7-game road winning streak by Buffalo on the line here. Penguins trying to come from behind a 40-minute deficit for the first time this year. Sorobi, bad angle shot, and it's frozen at the side of the net by Marty Biron.
Closed captioning of the NHL on TSN is brought to you by Kia, the fastest growing automaker in the world.
'97, Marty Brodeur, 12 straight wins as a starting goaltender. Biron trying to match that tonight. Michel Therrien looking for his first win back in the National Hockey League as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And nothing decided with a half minute to go. Gonchar holds the zone. There's Ouellette against McKee, centering. Gonchar can't reach it. It's going to come out to center. Played back in by Melichar. Teppo Numminen up ahead, off Greer to center. Dying seconds, both teams look like they're ready for 4-on-4. McKee back to get it. Time will run out in regulation. Ziggy Palffy's controversial tying goal has forced overtime in Pittsburgh.
The NHL on TSN is brought to you in part by Molson Canadian. NHL on TSN Overtime is brought to you by General Motors and all its divisions.
Another look at the game-tying goal by Ziggy Palffy. The overhead look. This would have been a dynamite save by Marty Biron, but clearly his glove is behind the line. I know you can't tell where that puck went in the glove. Common sense says that is the right call. Now, if we were in practice playing 3-on-3, that wouldn't be a goal.
No, I was laughing because if Glenn Healy makes that glove save, you would not be telling me that's a goal.
I wouldn't play until they took it off the clock. They refused to play.
So we go to 4-on-4, and Sidney Crosby's out with Mario Lemieux up against Daniel Briere and Tim Connolly to start this sudden death 5-minute extra time. A lead pass. Briere's got it. Toes again. And he shot it high. Briere went down, or Fleury went down, lost his stick, and Briere went high. Now Gonchar back. First chance of overtime to Buffalo. They might get another here, and Afinogenov just can't catch up to it. Fleury sweeps it away. Afinogenov after it, plays it back to Campbell. Teppo Numminen steps up with some room. Numminen going wide and hauled down. Penalty coming up against Mellicar as the veteran Numminen draws the penalty against Pittsburgh.
Well, you sense this coming. Breakaway by Briere, where Whitney gets caught. And then a bad change. Mellicar gets on the ice, but too late. He's not able to get on the ice, get his feet moving, get the gap closed, steps on the ice, and here comes the Finnish train at 100 miles an hour down his left side. Has no choice but to take a penalty.
Lindy Ruff has used his timeout here.
You know, we talked about the changes earlier in the period. They want work ethic. They want desire to win. They want the right attitude. We showed a sloppy change. Pittsburgh didn't learn from it. Another sloppy change. This time it's an overtime. Sloppy change now leads to a penalty. And when you play 4-on-3, there is so much ice, so many seams, so many ways to tee up players like Kodalik. Tough sledding for Pittsburgh.
Immediately following the conclusion of this game, we'll join Gino Retta. Molson, that's hockey coming up as soon as we decide a winner here in Pittsburgh tonight. Chris Drury has a pair of assists. He'll take the face off. Drury's been sharp in the circle as well tonight. Winning 11 of 18, make it 12 of 19 now. Kodalik is the trigger man. We've got Pominville at the point as well. Briere, the crafty playmaker. And here's Kodalik launching, and it's blocked there by Murley. Matt Murley is out in a penalty-killing role with Odeline and Endicott. Again, two forwards in a three-man penalty kill capacity for Pittsburgh. Briere fires up on the shoulder. Rebound, scores! And Chris Drury has the game-winning goal. And the Buffalo Sabres road winning streak extends to 8 here in Pittsburgh.
Think about the play of Marty Biron, the big saves he's made. 12 straight now for him without a loss. Marty Biron did that in 97. Winning by committee, leadership by committee, goals by committee for the Buffalo Sabres.
Third point of the game for Drury, the third power play goal of the night for Buffalo. And the Sabres now just 3 back of Ottawa in the Northeast. The streaking Sabres now with 13 wins in their last 15 games. The final here in Pittsburgh, 4-3 Sabres as we join Gino Retta and Molson. That's hockey.